Hi, this video is made by Brainlantern. Log on to brainlantern.com for more relevant information. This is a very important article regarding newspaper reading. This is for the very beginners who are just starting their journey for the civil services entrance exam. For your convenience, I will display the pictures of the newspaper, The Hindu, alongside the corresponding description. First, before starting, let me remind you, it takes multiple attempts before you can actually feel comfortable with the newspaper. Reading it completely in 5 to 8 hours initially is absolutely normal. Only with constant determination and some smart jugards, you can reduce the reading time to as less as 1 to 2 hours. Keep one thing in mind, different people will give you different suggestions and different ways to get through. No matter which way you follow, at the end what matters is how many questions you are able to answer correctly. If you can remember all the relevant stuff a newspaper gives you, trust me, you can then answer directly or indirectly asked around 15 to 25 newspaper based questions. The important thing to learn here is what is relevant and what is not. It not only saves your precious time, but also saves your brain from storing irrelevant information. Looking at the previous year's question paper is usually a useless exercise, as students have not read corresponding year's newspapers. By looking at the question paper, you just can't tell which questions are picked from newspaper and what degree of depth is required to study the newspaper. Things get more complicated with the indirectly asked questions, which occupy the bulk, and are usually asked from the topics related to the topics in the newspapers. Alright, before actually going to the newspaper, there is one more thing to keep in mind. You should prepare for your prelims as well as mains from the same newspaper. I will discuss about prelims in this video and add another video for the mains part. Your syllabus book divides the prelims question paper into different subjects. Broadly, history, geography, polity, economics, environment and biodiversity, general science and current affairs. Theoretically speaking, current affairs of national and international importance is the only newspaper-based topic. But practically, a question on almost all of these topics has been asked directly or indirectly from the newspaper. For example, World War I started on 28th June 1914, which means 2014 would mark its 100 years. There was some stuff going around and some pictures and reports were published in the newspaper. Now, keeping syllabus in mind, you should always expect a question on World War I in the history section. I will give you another example to make my point more valid. There was a report regarding some controversy over the Arctic area between two countries. It made into international page for about 2 to 3 days, and finally a question was asked in the prelims of 2014, set A, question number 35, and I quote, "Consider the following countries, Denmark, Japan, Russia, UK and USA. Which of the above are the members of the Arctic Council?" A little bit of added research into the news report would have given you the correct answer. Reading newspaper in a smart and logical manner will help you solve many such questions and will give you the required boost of 15 to 25 marks. So now you are aware of the importance of newspaper reading. Let me directly take you to the front page of the Hindu and discuss how you should begin. Very first rule is, try to classify the news in one of the subjects you are required to study and form a dummy question which can be asked on that topic. This practice will help you a long way and make your reading pleasurable. For example, take a look at this pic. This news, right on the front page, seems to be about RBI and inflation. The first thing is to classify it as economics. There will be some problem in forming dummy questions on economics as it is a very technical subject. To understand the economics in the newspaper, it is essential to study the basics from the NCERT textbooks. This will make 80% of the economics related news palatable for you. Learning economy from reading newspaper and understanding newspapers by learning economy go hand in hand. The best thing to do while you start preparing economics is to read your basics well and understand the meanings of the words which appear in the newspaper. A tip here is 100% of the questions asked in the question paper in economics are directly from basics. For example, while reading this news report, see in the box the picture with summary, I can form MCQs on inflation, monetary tools, monetary policy framework agreement, RBI Act, and CPI inflation. All these words are present in the box itself and all important. After reading the basics, you will find that inflation, CPI inflation, and monetary tools are just the foundation. The agreements and acts are always important. They contain certain important points or have certain other relevance attached to them. With this comes the second step of newspaper reading, which is digging Google little deep for that added info. Many MCQs in the exam will appear indirectly related to the topic in news. One point which you should always keep in mind here is to know when and where to stop. Internet can waste a lot of your time if you don't know how much is enough. To save you from such a hazard, we are filtering the relevant stuff and providing you with daily news summary and news aid on our website brainlantern.com. Moving ahead, I should tell you that political news is irrelevant and can be ignored. It includes news about parties like ones shown here. This news is not important from the looks of what is given inside it, but an indirect question can be asked on BCCI, like, for example, what is the criteria for choosing the chairman of BCCI? What is his tenure? Or is it an independent body or comes under any government department, etc.? See, you need to form these questions and search the internet to get the answers. It is even more important to save such high yield points for future reference. Please avoid bulky printouts from internet as they are suicidal for the last moment. At the max, you should have around 30 to 60 pages a month in the concentrated notes form. Read the previous year's papers daily to get acquainted with the types and forms of questions asked. Then you can form your own questions on that pattern. Coming on to page 2. On page 2, this report shown here seems political and can be ignored on the first look. But on reading the subheading, the word financial debt attracts my attention. This actually opens the issue of division of funds between states and center. This also brings Finance Commission into picture, as this is the constitutional body responsible for it. Its classification is polity. All this becomes very easy to derive once you are through reading your subject books. For beginners, it may be confusing and you may lose certain important points, but there are two things which favors the freshers. First, almost negligible questions will be asked from initial 2 to 3 months newspapers, that is from July to September, because examiners are busy setting mains paper, so you get enough time to adjust. And second, your high energy levels can easily help you finish those books in 2 months. I have discussed rest of the pages in the second part of this video. Please feel free to subscribe to brainlantern.com for more entrance exam related videos.